this first episode of Operation Ghost, I've traveled all the way to Harpers Ferry, West Virginia. Now I'm actually sitting in Maryland currently. Right over there is the town that infamously started the Civil War. So it's actually pretty interesting how the whole Harpers Ferry story unfolded. John Brown led the first uprising of the slaves, and John Brown was actually white himself, and he actually only did this with, I think, out of the 22, I think only 5 of them were actually even black. But essentially, the 22 of them attacked Harpers Ferry. Harpers Ferry was making all the weapons, I guess all the weapons for this was before the Civil War, but essentially the thinking was sooner or later, after we won the Revolutionary War, we didn't have weapons. We didn't have a lot. We needed to make them, and that's why they attacked Harpers Ferry, to get weapons. Now, there wasn't a lot of ammo in this place. But anyway, they attacked this town. A couple people were killed that night. And there was no Confederates and there was no Union at this point. But what happened is a train went by and it went to the next town, and they said 1,000 black people are trying to uprise the slaves, basically, and take over the town. It was 22 of them, and most of them were actually white. This is kind of funny. So all the militias around here from Virginia and everywhere surrounded that town and actually took it back over. So I think that's kind of interesting. Throughout the war, the Harpers Ferry changed hands. I think it was like 12 times or something. It was right around a dozen. But there's a lot of deaths there and a lot of interesting things. And I've actually signed up for a ghost tour, so that way I can get a really good idea of where all the hot spots are, good places to investigate, and just general knowledge, just so I can, get to the best position possible to get evidence of paranormal in this town. So there's actually a lot of paranormal stories from this town. I looked at some on YouTube. I actually went into the town, and there's a candy store there, and I tried to get permission to enter the candy store at night, but I didn't get it. But there's a ghost in there, and I actually thought it was interesting that me and the ghost actually have the same name. The name is Colby, and apparently every morning he throws candy on the floor. So I would love to go see that, but I got to get permission for that. But anyway, there's plenty of haunted spots in the town, plenty of places where people died. There's actually a famous alley called Hog Alley, and I really can't wait to hear that story. I am actually inside of John Brown's fort currently. It is said inside these walls that he was captured and one of his men was bayoneted into the wall. This isn't his original place that it was originally set in. They moved it. They actually moved it twice. Tonight will definitely be a big spot that we investigate using EVP and my full spectrum cameras. See if we can capture anything, since somebody did die inside these brick walls. Here's a look at John Brown's fort, where he made his last stand before he was captured. That night before the tour started, I decided to go ahead and pull out my EMF to see if I could get anything. So I'm actually about an hour away from doing the ghost tour, and I'm outside of John Brown's fort right now. It's hard to see, so I don't have my night vision camera out here. I do have my EMF recorder, and I will use my phone as an EVP. Is there anybody here with us? Were you holed up in this fort? What is your name? Is there anybody here that would like to talk to us? I know you died in this building. Getting an EMF spike. How did you die in here? Oh, I'm getting a big jump. I'm getting a big jump right now. There's no electricity in this building. Were you bayoneted to the wall? Is that who I'm speaking to? There's no electricity that goes into this building that I'm aware of. Wow, I'm getting a huge jump. Can you tell us what happened to you? Were you part of John Brown's army? Did you guys fortify yourself inside this building. Though I didn't catch anything on EVP, it definitely freaked me out how the EMF reader was going off. Soon after that, it was time for the tour. So like I said, I took a ghost tour last night, and I was shown basically all the hot spots in the town. Some of the spots are actually inside of buildings I don't have permission to enter, so I'll probably avoid those. But there's a couple spots that I definitely thought was interesting, because some stuff does take place outside of those spots. One of those spots is a tavern, and I'm actually planning on renting that in the future. But there's a little drummer boy, and he was killed by the Union soldiers. He was captured, and instead of them sending him to a camp where they were sending all the other captured soldiers to basically die, they made him do all their chores. He was cleaning out their shit pots in the morning when they peed in, doing all kinds of chores, and he was getting really depressed and upset. And they were messing around with him one night, and they accidentally threw him out a window. And there's activity inside that tavern upstairs, but there's a balcony outside. And there's supposedly a picture that somebody took of him sitting with his arms on the balcony looking over it. So we will be there, we will be taking pictures there. Here's a good look at the tavern with the notorious drummer boy. Below to the left, you can see a cave. The next spot, or really a spot that I'll be the whole night, is Hog Alley. That is where Danger Newby was killed. Danger Newby was part of John Brown's, I guess you can call it a militia. And because people were so afraid of the slaves rioting and everything, trying to get themselves freed, that they called on the militias. This was before the Civil War. The militias from all around here, from Virginia and everywhere, came to this town. And they had taken all the guns. Now, Harpers Ferry is so important for the war, not because they created ammo, they just created guns. They actually didn't have ammo. They didn't have a lot of ammo, but they did take all the guns. What they did was they took a stake spike from the railroad. Some guy cut off the end of it, stuck it down the barrel, and shot it, and went through Danger Newby's neck. They then proceeded to cut off Danger Newby's ears and a couple other things that I'm not aware of. I think I have an idea of what they cut off, but they dragged them all through town. And the reason it's called Hog Alley is they put hogs there. There was hogs on that alley, and they fed him to the hogs. And his blood dripped down the street. And it's said that there's a man that every now and then people see. He's dressed in black, baggy clothes and a black hat. And every now and then people will see him and he'll just disappear. So that's definitely a hot spot that we will be at. And interestingly enough, if you stand in Hog Alley, you can actually see Robert Ferry's house. It's a whole balcony. So I'll probably leave a camera looking up Hog Alley and looking up to his house. Because actually, Robert Ferry's house is actually fairly haunted as well. It's supposed to be the most haunted house in Harpers Ferry in general. But that's definitely a hot spot that we'll be going to. Here you can see the notorious Hog Alleyway. Strangely enough, Robert Harper's house overlooks the whole alley, where Dangerfield Newby's body lay right below. There's one more spot in the town that I'll be focusing on, and I have no backstory on it, but somebody mentioned it to me. And the tour guide also mentioned it, but he didn't actually give me any backstory on it. It's because they didn't cut the brush, so he didn't go in there. It's actually right under where the drummer boy was killed. There's a cave. There's a cave there, and I went there today, and I saw that there's a small path that goes up to this cave. I have no idea the significance of this cave. I have no idea what's in there. But I owe it to you guys to go check it out and see if we can get anything going. There was something else that really interests me. John Brown's fort wasn't part of the tour at all, and I even asked, is there any activity that's been reported there? And he said no, or not that he was aware of. And actually I haven't heard any stories concerning the fort, but I will be outside of it. I will run my ghost box, because I do know that somebody was killed inside of it. Now, unfortunately, it doesn't sit in the same place as it used to. They moved it. I believe they moved it to Detroit or Chicago for a period of time, and then they moved it back here. So, I mean, it's the same bricks, same building. So, I don't know, but still gonna check it out. Like I said, there's a small cave there, but really it was just filled with a bunch of dirty needles from heroin addicts. So in the last hours before I start this investigation, a couple of things you guys are going to see me using is I'm going to be using these full spectrum cameras. I turn on this light. It's sensitive inside. This is basically a GoPro. I can sit it on this tripod, and it'll see in the dark, and it'll pick up lights that you and I can't see. If I turn it on outside, you'll see that it shows up as pink. That's because it's catching the UV rays. I do have a thermal camera that hooks into my phone. I might not use it as much, but I'll probably play with it a little bit. I have a regular night vision camera that uses these flashlights. Same idea, this is an infrared light. You can't see it, but the camera can, and it makes it night vision. It also has a microphone to pick up better sounds. I will also be using my ghost box. Basically, it's going to switch through channels, and that is believed to have ghosts speak through it and be able to speak to us and communicate. And let's see, I have a GoPro. I also have my thermometer. It's going to be on the whole time in case we get to a cold spot. It will be cold tonight, but in case the temperature changes, this will be able to pick it up pretty quick. I'm currently sitting at the top of the hog lot, or the hog alleyway, excuse me. If I get my phone to sit right. I'm taking pictures with my full spectrum camera, but I also have my other camera looking at me in case I have something that wants to come next to me or touch me. And of course, I have my EMF recorder on. I guess it's nice that they left a little light out here, since I'm alone and I'm probably gonna get scared. Is anybody here with us? If you're here with us, Dangerfield, just talk straight into the speaker. I just had this lighting up to red and then it disappeared. I don't know where it went. Mr. Dangerfield newbie, if you're here, let us know. I spent a lot of time on the ghost box trying to get a response from Dangerfield newbie. Unfortunately, I was unsuccessful. Just talk straight into the speaker. However, not long after, I did pick up a few interesting things on my full spectrum camera. It was a little out of range for my camera, but as you can see, there is something strange there. I took another picture immediately after, and as you can see, it looks like whatever was there is now gone. Here's a second look, and mind you, this was the house that creeped me out the whole time I was there. I definitely had the feeling of eyes on me anytime I was anywhere near this house. The house that belonged to Robert Harper himself. And what I caught after this was pretty interesting as well. You can see an orbital light pass through right at the bottom left of the screen. Here's a couple looks in slow motion. I know it was way too cold for any bugs that night. Well, I'm about down to my phone battery. Strangely enough, my ghost box speaker, even though I had it fully charged, it made a little sound and then it died and got real quiet. But I can still use my phone as an EVP recorder. Danger newbie, did you drain my speaker battery? Dangerfield, if you're here with us, can you let us know? I'm trying to talk to you all night. Speak right into this in my hand. I'll leave it right here for you. Speak. After spending a lot of time trying to communicate with Dangerfield, I decided to move somewhere else. I asked you before. Though it was a promising spot, Dangerfield just wasn't in the mood to talk, I guess. Well, these are the stairs that lead up to the church. And not too far from that is where Mr. Harper's house is. And that's where we're headed. These steps are very worn down, a little treacherous. I'm headed behind the most haunted house here in Harpers Ferry that has driven multiple people out of it. And it's to the point that they turned it into an office because nobody wanted to stay in there anymore. People kept seeing a little girl and her mom. and I believe a man as well. It used to be like barracks for like park rangers, but they everybody kept getting run out of there and having bad experiences. So they went ahead and it's just an office now, and nobody goes in there at night. All right, we're right behind the infamous Mr. Harper's house. Robert Harper, he lives here. And it's supposed to be the most haunted house here. So we're gonna do an EVP session. Is there anybody back here in this alley with me? If there is, speak into this device right here in my hand. You can see the green light. Speak into it. If you're here, don't hesitate to come speak to me. I'm over here by the window. Touching the house. Are you inside of here? Oh my God. This was just lighting up. I'm actually touching the house right now. I have my shoulder on the house. Okay. Now we're on to something. I just heard a sound from inside. I don't know if you could have heard it. Is there anybody in this building that would like to communicate? I'll leave my phone close. Just speak out this window. Is there a little girl or her mother inside this house? Just speak right here and let us know that you're in there. It's okay. You can come talk to me. Do you need me to come to the door? I can come stand next to the door. Can you speak to me through the door? Can you make a sound and let us know that you're in there? You must not get a lot of company at night. I'm here. If you want to show anybody anything or anything. Well, I thought it was interesting. Sorry you can't really see me. My camera died. I was standing at the door by Robert Harper's house. I kept trying to talk to them, kept trying to communicate, and I said, can you knock on the door, give me a sign that you're there? And of course my camera immediately dies, so now I'm down to my phone camera. I also think it's really interesting that my ghost box died after about 20 minutes of use when I had charged it all day long. And if anybody's here, can you speak? Well, let's see. No. What the world? What could be making this light up all the way over here? If anybody's here with us, can you speak right here into this device in my hand? I was in the red and now I have nothing. In the same spot. Okay. If there's anybody here, can you speak to us? Speak right into this phone. Give us a sign, anything. The only source of electricity right there is this light. As you can see, it gets a little bit into the green, but I got red and I was a couple feet away from it. There's nothing on the ground. Some kind of energy, something. Well, I guess I was a good 6-7 feet away from this light. From my EMF, lit it all the way to red. And I was talking. I'm still right next to the house. You can see the house. The yard is right next to me. Is it possible something got close to me? I don't know. The vibe from this house was definitely creepy, but I thought I'd call it a night. But what happened when I decided to call it a night and started packing up my things definitely freaked me out and definitely made things a lot more interesting. Okay. I was packing up my stuff to leave, and I'm still right behind Robert Harper's house. And I just heard like 5 bumps from inside of here. As you can see, all the lights are off. There's nobody in there. What the world? Like I said, that was crazy. It went bump, bump. Can you do that again? What the world could that have been? It did like 5 bumps. What happens next blows my mind. Listen for the 3 knocks. On. Here, listen to it again. On. 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 This house freaked me out pretty bad, and it was the last time I would visit it again. It definitely leaves the question, what exactly is lurking inside of Robert Harper's house? I've done other paranormal investigations, but this one definitely bothered me the most. I did actually stop by the drummer boy house, and as you can see, there's this orb of light I caught on my full spectrum camera, and it seemed to travel right by me. I didn't feel like I got exactly what I came for, so I decided to send it for a second night. I'm back out in the town of Harpers Ferry for a second night. Last night didn't go exactly as planned. I did get some interesting photos, however. Some orbs of light that didn't really make sense. Some that seemed to even travel with my camera. I even got a weird, I can't really call it an apparition. It was kind of out of range of my full spectrum camera. It's actually at the house right behind me. But I'm out in Hogs Alley again tonight. We're going to run the ghost box as soon as the train passes to minimize basically any debunking I can say for any sounds that were there that shouldn't be there. That train is super loud, and well, that just makes things hard with audio. And I got my camera up and the audio seems to be working now. So about to get it started. Alright, like I said, back in Hogs Alley for round 2. To my left, kind of in the middle of the street, I have my full spectrum camera going in case it catches anything. Right now, I tried to basically run. I tried to run a ghost box a few times last night, but I just didn't really get anything. I'm gonna try it again here in Hogs Alley. Tonight, I'm actually gonna try to avoid the house down the street with the tavern and the balcony with the drummer boy. I'm planning on renting that in the future. I can go ahead and save you the pain. I didn't get a lot in Hog Alley. However, I did take a couple of pictures of the Robert Harper house, and that was a little spooky what I caught. This was in the last 30 minutes of my investigation when I really started to get freaked out. Where did this red light come from? This looks exactly like a little boy to me. I'm also not sure what that red light is on the 2nd floor. It's so creepy that this was never there before. Well, like I said, I was out here earlier. I was actually here 2 days ago. I used my EMF. It's already lighting up. That's really creepy. I don't have anything on me that could make it light up. There's no electricity here. There's no power. Like I went in the building earlier, I showed you. There's no lights in here, there's no power in here, there's no light. Sorry for the intense wind in the audio, but this was pretty much the last of my investigating, for I just had the worst feeling that somebody was right there with me, and the EMF going off the chart didn't make it any better. As you can see here, oh well, it was lighting up. Something about this door, dude. There's nothing behind this door, it's all wood. There's nothing here. Oh. Something about this building. They said it wasn't haunted. Oh my lord. There is nothing in here. I should be making this light up. If there's anybody in here, can you knock on the door one time? Can you speak? Can you make a sound to let us know that you're there? What the world is going on right now? This is a little spooky. If there's anybody in here, can you make a sound to let me know that you're there? I see you lighting up my device, but can you speak? Can you make a sound? I was pretty freaked out at this point, and everything in my body was telling me I definitely should leave this place. If you're here with me, just speak right into this phone. Speak right here. Nothing. Orange. It's so inconsistent. And there was no electricity in here, I'm sure of it. I looked everywhere. There's gotta be something in there. What could it be? This was the last picture I took before I left, and as you can see, there's an orb of light up on top of this building. Could this have been a spirit following me and what was making me so creeped out this whole time? I think it's just perfect timing that I decided to snap one more picture as soon as I was leaving. Well, I came back out here for a while and I ran some ghost box. Didn't get a lot of that. I am still getting a lot of EMF right by John Brown's fort. But honestly, ever since I left that house over there, Robert Harper's house, I've just had the most eerie feeling. And it's honestly scared the shit out of me, so I can't take it anymore. One of the few times in my life I've actually been this afraid that I need to leave somewhere. As you can see, there's absolutely nobody on the street. It's Sunday night. These streets had some people in it earlier, and all of last night. I had company all last night. It didn't stop. It's just little groups of people walking around, amateur ghost hunters, I guess, like myself. But there's nobody here tonight, so maybe just the isolation, the feeling of being alone just finally got to me. But there's definitely something interesting with Robert Harper's house that definitely just gives me this energetic fear feeling. And I'm actually walking down the street. I'm coming up on the tavern where the drummer boy was pushed out of the window. I do have the intention of renting that place because the top floor you can rent and stay there. And I'll probably do a part 2 to this. Maybe I'll bring company so I don't get so afraid that I have to run with my tail between my legs. But so it's interesting. I'll go back through my footage and see what I got. So the night before I did the tour, something weird did happen. I was getting really big EMF spikes in here. And as you can see, I was getting them from the door. There's no electricity in here. None. I don't see anything in here. So it's extremely strange that I was getting EMF spikes from a building with no electricity in it, especially by the doors. Not even lights in here. Alright guys, so that's the end of the video. That's all the footage and evidence I got. Um, I think a lot of what I got was just feelings, like a lot of orbs of light, which maybe they can be explained. I've always been really skeptical about those in any videos, but it was definitely weird timing that I took that last picture right before I left. And then there was the picture of Robert Harper's house where I thought maybe it was a little boy or a little girl on the right side. And then there was the weird red light in the upper left corner on one of them, and that was never there. I just happened to spot that as I was going back through the footage. I don't ever recall that being there, and it's not in any of the other photos. Overall, Hog's Alley, I don't know. I just didn't feel it. It just didn't happen. The Drummer Boy house, I did get that orb of light, and there is kind of a spooky feeling there. I really didn't go up there, though. I was pretty far away from it, I guess. It's a restaurant, and then up top you can rent that room up there, and I think I'm going to do that next. Maybe not next, but that's definitely in the plans. But overall, and John Brown's Fort, there was no stories on that when I took the ghost tour, but there's definitely something there. It doesn't make any sense that there's EMF in that building because there is no electricity in there. And I just kept getting, like, that was the last place I was, and that was the final straw for me. I was by myself, and I just got so spooked out being in there, or being by it, and I just had this feeling that something was there, and then I got that orb of light on the camera. But anyway, thank you guys for watching, and please subscribe.